Always a pleasure to catch up with who I'm going to call Francis Ngannou's cornerman. I mean, not a bad fighter himself, but Francis Ngannou's cornerman, Kamaru Usman, the champ. Hey, I did want to ask you, what was that experience like for you, man? I mean, that had to be a big deal. Like you're breaking camp. I mean, you're in the middle of preparing for a title fight on your own. You break camp, go down to, I'm sure you had to quarantine and do all that stuff that we do at the Vegas hotel. So what was that like for you that you were willing to kind of make this sacrifice of your own camp and do that for Francis?
It was very motivating for me. That was one thing that I kind of wanted to see in that process is Francis motivates me, just like Israel. They both motivate me a lot to where it's it kind of gives you this friendly competitive edge to Francis knocked the guy out, dang near killed him. Okay, I need to do that. I need to one up that. So it's just love when I'm around those guys, and I truly dearly I'm appreciative that they are on this journey at this present time with me. So but it was fun. I going there and watching him achieve that. It's another just highlight, another stamp in my life, in my timeline.
Yeah, no question, man. It was a fantastic performance. So I got to ask, are you guys, I mean, I know right now we're dealing with COVID and all that, but are you three champions? I mean, are y'all talking to Dana and the UFC brass behind the scene and saying, let's get this UFC Africa going? What's it going to take?
I've had conversations with Dana. I had conversation with him right after, and even after my fight. And it seems like, yes, that's something that they're interested in, but there's a lot that goes into being able to have an event down there in Africa. So it's I mean, we're dealing with, maybe certain rights and things of, this region has rights to this region and things of that nature. So it makes it a little difficult to just say, you know what, let's just do an event this place. So but Dana did assure me that, next year we should be looking at getting something done.
I like it, man. That could be pretty special. Hopefully, if you guys are all still reigning champions at that time as well, can you imagine what it would mean for the sport on that entire continent, man? That would be quite the spectacle to see, to say the least. So, listen, you got a lot to go between then and now, so we'll find out what happens in the future. But let's talk about you, man. Camp winding down right now. Where do you stand? Is all the hard work done? You got any last sparring sessions or difficult sessions? Are we in the recovery mode? Where you stand right now?
Yeah, I just got back not too long ago from strength and conditioning, so we're still, we're still making sure that we're sharp and we're firing on all cylinders. But as far as the heavy lifting and things that you have to do to prepare for a fight, yeah, we've done that. We've been banging it out, going hard. Sparring sessions. I've had great sparrings with, of course, the Madman Justin Gaethje. Ben and a lot of the guys over there at Team Elevation. And so we've done a lot of the heavy lifting, even wrestling, and really, really preparing myself for this one. And I'm excited. I'm excited to actually get a chance to now put something together. See, we've all seen when I have ample amount of time to be able to prepare for certain opponents, then I can go in there and dictate and really do whatever I want to do. And I do that anyways. But this one, I'm looking to make this one special.
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, we've talked about before. Everybody says, Masvidal stepped in on short notice, but of course you took the fight on short notice too. So how much different is the approach? I mean, you've gone 25 minutes with the guy, right? So you know a lot about him. You know how he feels and positions, that sort of thing. So, I mean, is the tactics, the game plan, has that changed dramatically from the first time around, or is it kind of let's pick up where we left off that first
time? Definitely we'll pick off where we left off because, like at the end of the day, when we're running a race, none of these guys can run with me side by side. And so, yeah, of course we want to pick off where we left off, but now we get time to actually put strategy into place, to actually figure things out, as opposed to me just, saying what the hell, and just risking everything and going in there on on a few days' notice and taking that fight because I didn't have to do that. I threw him a bone that first time. That was a no lose situation for him. I threw him a bone, and he made the most money he's ever made in his career, and I let that happen, and I'm giving him another chance. I'm giving him another chance to fight for the title and make a ton of money. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, you know, being with my coach Trevor Whitman and George, we know what we want to do in certain positions, but at the end of the day, I have to go out there and execute. So if I'm feeling jiggy in the fight and I gotta dance, I gotta do what I need to do. So my coaches, leave that up to me to figure that part out.
Nice. You said it. You're giving him another chance. And I'll be honest, I was surprised when you said, I want this fight again. I really was. But I do understand the logic as well. You've explained it very well. But I'm curious, are you surprised in how he's handled the buildup, I guess, to this one? I mean, I guess he's always going to talk a little trash, and that's what you do before fights. But, I mean, did you hope at all that maybe he would be like, thank you, champ, for giving me another opportunity at this. I really appreciate you as a sportsman and as a competitor for allowing me to do it. I mean, I haven't heard any of that anywhere. Were you hoping for any of that at all, or did you know that was never coming?
You would only expect, like, I mean, come on. You would only expect this guy's giving you an opportunity to make a ton of money and take care of your family. Um, But no, it's not that. So, it just shows the difference between, certain fighters and myself. But it is what it is. I guess he has to say what he needs to say in order to sell the fight. I was told earlier that he made a comment and he called me a coward going into the fight, and that's pretty harsh when a guy's giving you two chances and you've made the most money you've ever made in your career and putting you on the biggest stage you've ever been in your career. That's kind of tough. You're fighting a title fight back to back times. To call the guy a coward, that seems a little silly to me. At the end of the day, I've never really taken anything away from him. He's a good fighter. He's a really, really good fighter. I've always shown him that respect, and I think as a sportsman, I think, yeah, he's a good fighter, but I just think I'm a great fighter, and I'm an elite fighter when these guys are good fighters. So, at the end of the day, we're gonna have to go in there, step in, and and I'll make it happen again.
I like it. I did notice, by the way, you posted that champ pick again with the BMF title on one shoulder. So I mean, I know you said before.
Don't blame me. I don't run my social media. Don't blame me.
All right, fair. But I do want to ask him. I know you said before, hey, that one's silver, mine's gold, but it's a pretty good looking belt. I mean, do you think maybe he ought to be willing to put that one on the line, or does your social media managers just like to mess them a little bit?
They just like to mess with him, and it worked because he responded. Either him or his team or someone responded to it. But at the end of the day, I don't care about those games. It doesn't make any difference to me. If I asked Siri right now who's the BMF champion, Siri's gonna ask me, "Are you talking about a show or something?" But if I ask Siri who's the undisputed UFC welterweight champion of the world, Siri's gonna say Kamaru Usman. So that's the most important thing to me.
Fair enough, man. I want to ask you one more thing about your preparation. This is the first card back with a full crowd, right? Which, I mean, that's going to be amazing to see the fans back in the building. I'm just wondering if that changes anything for you, right? Like, one thing we've seen in this COVID era is how easy it is to communicate with coaches and corners and that sort of thing. And now maybe that's going to be a little bit more challenging. And also, I wonder, that adrenaline rush, man. I mean, I know you've been on the big stage before, but being back in front of a full arena, is that going to be a mental or psychological challenge? So does the fact of crowd being back, does that change anything in terms of the prep for you?
For myself, no, I don't believe so because I fought I trained and competed for years on a wrestling mat when there weren't people in the building or in the gym at all, and so I've been versed in how to handle that. And I've also fought in the packed arena, sold out arena, and been able to deal with that as well. I do think it makes it a little tougher as far as communication with your corner, but when you're zoned in, their voices, you recognize their voices, so you can always hear them and you can always still communicate. But it's not something that helps or hinders me at all. I think for him, that's something that I could help him or hinder him. I never know. But for me, it doesn't make that much of a difference.
Nice. This 2-month turnaround that you're doing right now, man, it's pretty fantastic, right? I mean, seeing champions stay this busy and defend their belts, but we don't see it a lot, right? Because I know it's tough on the body and it's tough mentally and it's tough, heck, before we got here, USADA was in your house testing you there. So I mean, all the things that go along with it. So tell me, I mean, now that you've done this, is this the blueprint for things that you want to do moving forward, or was this a special occasion and you think, I'm gonna need a little time after this one?
It's just what I was feeling at the time. I'm just kind of in this point in my career to where, yeah, we were offered to do the Ultimate Fighter and things like that, but I just had to be honest and come to terms with myself. I'm not getting any younger. I don't. Things don't feel the same when I was 23 years old. So I have to be real with myself. After that last fight, I feel like I didn't completely get my fix for as hard as I trained for that fight, as much as I put into that fight mentally. And just like I felt after the first fight, with Masvidal, I just didn't feel like I got my fix. And it just kind of, I was like, you know what, I'm healthy. I'm not getting any younger. Why not? Because the one thing that I can't get back is time. Why waste this much time filming a show that, that I don't end up fighting towards the end of the year? At this rate, God willing, and if I'm blessed with the ability, I could get 2 more in. To be honest with you, I could get 2 more in, and that's right now. That's 3 in 9 months, and so but I could quite possibly get 2 more in. But we'll see how the body holds up. Like I said, I've put a lot of wear and tear on my body, especially with the way that I prepare for these fights, because it doesn't matter if I'm fighting just a striker. I'm still gonna wrestle. I'm still gonna do all of these things that do break the body down. So we'll go back, and I'll ask my daughter if she's willing to put up with Daddy being gone for another 5, 6, maybe 8 weeks.
That's the one that makes the decisions, right? You got to clear it with the boss.
Absolutely.
Well, have you thought past 261? Oh man, you just said, hey, obviously we got to get through it. We got to see how we're feeling. But have you thought past that of like who you see as the most? Because what was interesting about this fight was, as champion, people come to you. The UFC says, this is who we got. This was one of those rare occasions where you, as the champ, said, hold on, before you come with anybody, I want that guy. So is there anybody right now that's like on your radar? Because there's so many names out there and everybody's gunning for you. Are there any of them that you go, boy, if we get this done, that's the guy I got to go teach a lesson?
Absolutely. To be honest with you, no, because this is like a race right now. We're all on the track running, and I'm so far ahead to where I'm lapping these guys now, and this will be the first guy that I lap now, and I'm just that far ahead. Now things have to, after this one, I have to really consider, they have to make sense for me in order to be able to go out there and do it again. I know there's a couple of fights that, they would be fun fights to have, but I put definitive finish on those fights already. And so, we'll have to go to the drawing board and see what makes sense. But, at the end of the day, I don't know how many more of these I have left. And so I definitely want to maximize the opportunity while I still have it.
Man, you start talking like that, you scare us a little bit. I mean, are we talking about imminent retirement? I mean, we already talking about the end? Are we looking at the end, or are we just being cautious?
No. Well, it's not that we're looking at the end. It's just that I'm such a realist with myself that I have to be honest with myself. And I know that I definitely have less than I've already put in. I have less to go than I've already, so I know that for sure, because and it's not necessarily just physically, because physically I can still do this, but my daughter's 6 years old, and this might be week 5 or week 6 that I've been gone now, and it's just not the same. Being on FaceTime for 10 minutes with her, it's not the same as being able to see her growing and see her behavior, her mannerisms, how she talks, it's not the same. And I'm very hands-on and in tune with my daughter, and it's tough for me being here and not being able to experience that with her, because I'm getting older and I'm getting softer, I think, because I like certain things now make me emotional, and And she definitely does. So I have to pay respect to that, because at the end of the day, competition, you could always compete, and money, you could always make money in separate and different ways. But the one thing that I cannot get back in this lifetime is time. And once she's six, she's no longer, when she's past six, she's no longer six anymore. You can't get that time back. And I have to pay respect to that.
Man, I can respect the heck out of that. I've got an 8-year-old son, and I did 5 weeks on Fight Island at one stretch. And I guess that's I've never done a training camp, my man, as you might be able to see, but 5 weeks on Fight Island, I can relate, man. It was weird, 5 weeks away from your kid, and being on a different schedule, and like you said, FaceTime is FaceTime, but it's not even the same, man. So I can respect the heck out of that, man. Well, listen, I do want to ask one thing kind of completely different than this, and that I thought was the most amazing thing I've ever seen you put out. The toe stomping shadow boxing video. I gotta be honest, that cracked me up so much, man. This was you kind of leaning into the hate. Who came up with that?
I was just in the gym, and I was training. I think that was the week after my last fight. And like I said, I didn't feel like I got my fix from the fight. So I was just like, I need to go train. I need to do something. So I go in the gym, and I'm working, and I'm getting a bag workout, and it's an intense bag workout, and I'm sweating, and I'm really getting into it. I'm like, yo, I still got a fire in me, And so then I start cooling down, and it's one thing in my head. I'm like, while I'm cooling down, I always want to be able to be free and think about certain techniques, and any and every technique that I can utilize. So I'm shadow boxing, I'm cooling down, but then I'm like, that's a technique. I use that. Do that. Go ahead, do that. So I stop. I'm like, oh, what about a spinning toe stomp? and and I hit the first spinning one, and then it just took off from there. I was just in the zone. I was flowing. I was cooling down, and it was just certain things that I just added to the arsenal. So don't be surprised if you see a spinning toe stomp coming.
If you break that out in the fight, I would lose my mind.
You never know these days. I'm starting to have fun with this, so people never know.
It's awesome, man. Talk about having fun, talk about maybe being near the end, man. Is it crazy to hear when people start talking about you're breaking George St. Pierre's records? You know what I mean? I know that you can't really see everything until it's all said and done. You can reflect, and you don't really get to enjoy it full. But when you start hearing your name mentioned alongside George St. Pierre and topping things that he said, is that a little bit weird for you?
I wouldn't say weird, because like when I got into this, I had high expectations of myself, because I don't do anything half-assed. I strive for perfection, and even if I don't attain that, I still, attain excellence. And so I wouldn't say it's weird to me. I would just say it's surreal, because when you make a plan, you kind of like, say, this is what I want, and you speak it out, and then you do the work that it takes to get there, and then you're actually getting there and taking those strides. I shock myself each and every day. I shock myself when I go to sparring, because I'm nervous even to this point. When I go to sparring, even though I know all these guys, I know them well, I am still nervous when I step in there to spar these guys. And then after sparring, I shock myself, like, wow, I did that well with Justin. I did that well with this guy. Justin didn't kill me today, I survived. And so it's always surreal to me when people start kind of, putting those things out there, because when I was young, I couldn't really imagine how this was going to come to fruition, but I knew I had dreams of being great at something.
That's awesome, man. I think anybody'd be nervous if they were going to spar with Justin Gaethje. No matter.
Oh my God! If people can see our sparring sessions, people would pay for that for sure.
That's awesome, man. Hopefully he gets a fight booked soon, man. I know we're excited to see him back too. But listen, man, you've been generous with your time as always. I always enjoy talking to you. So just last thing I'll ask you, are you envisioning this thing a certain way right now? I'm sure you're playing out every scenario in your head, but as you do it, are we in for another 25, or do you feel like you go out and get this one finished and make some kind of a statement? How does this one play out?
I always want to make a statement. Absolutely. I always want to make a statement, but going 25, that's up to him. That's if he did his homework properly and he came as prepared as he possibly could, then he might be able to drag this thing on for 25. But I'm at the point where I'm having fun. And come April 24th, I'm looking to have fun again as I did February 13th or 14th.
Awesome, champ. Well, we're all looking forward to it. Another big event, another title defense already, and we'll see you down in Florida.
Thank you, John. We'll see you there.